with the National Action Network's Saturday morning broadcast, live on WLIB 1190 AM, New York Gospel Station. I am Minister Kirsten John Ford, the Northeast Regional Director for the National Action Network, and it has been my pleasure to host you all this morning, filling in for our Executive Vice President, Attorney Michael Hardy, who is traveling. Before we bring on our keynote address, our President and Founder, Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, let us receive at this time briefly for a few remarks, the Senior Pastor of Mount Nebo Baptist Church, right here in the village of Harlem, the Reverend Dr. Johnny Green.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First, let me thank Reverend Sharpton for this opportunity. Let me thank our Northeast Regional Director, Kirsten John Foy, for a wonderful job. We are here today to say thank you to the National Action Network for your support of the protest and demonstration march at LaGuardia on this past Wednesday. We are going back to LaGuardia on Monday, the 27th, this Monday at 4 p.m., and we'll be in Western Buffalo next week, also on the steps of the Capitol and at Rochester, Syracuse Airport. Thank you so much, Reverend Sharpton, for the support, and we are one.
We are one. Without further ado, he's one of the most prominent activists leading the country today. He's the man who's not afraid to speak up for the voiceless and stand firm on his beliefs. He's the soul reacher, the liberation seeker, and he is a true teacher. He's the president and founder of the National Action Network, and he's devoted his entire life to helping our people and building our nation. He is none other than the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton.
No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
When do we want it?
Now.
When do we want it?
Now.
Hug the person next to you, tell him you love.
Never give up and never give in. Change will come. Keep faith out. Trouble and trials will not go away. Fight on our side, nothing but pride. Nothing to hold on. Be strong. A better day is coming and it won't keep on going. Yes, change will come. Change will come. Change will come. Starting with you. Your change will come. Starting with you. Your change will come. Never give up and never give in. Change will come. Keep it out within. Trouble and trials won't last always. With God on our side, nothing but pride. Nothing to hold on. Be strong. A better day is coming and it won't be too long. Yes, change will come. Change will come. Change will come. Your change will come. Your change gonna come. Your change will come. Your change gonna come. Change will come. Change will come. Change will come. Starting with you. Your change will
National Action Network Change Choir, give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning at the House of Justice. You that are here in the auditorium
at 106 West 145th Street in the Village of Howard. And you that are listening live on 1190 AM WLIB in New York and watching Facebook Live around the country and going live on Impact Television nationwide, we're certainly happy to be with you another Saturday morning where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Minister Kirsten John Ford, who heads our Northeast Regional office and chapters around the Northeast. And certainly last night, yesterday, all day, we celebrated here the birthday of our crisis director here in New York, Minister Kevin McCall. And we again wish him a happy birthday. He's been our crisis director here and been on the case, and they honored him last night in Brownsville, Brooklyn, where I come from. And I went out and joined Minister Foy and Minister Stephen Marshall as we honored his 31st birthday, brother on the front lines of the struggle. Let me say first and foremost that we are grateful and thankful to you that came and volunteered and helped on Thursday as we fed hundreds of people here on Thanksgiving Day. We, every year, this is the 26th anniversary of National Action Network, and every year on Thanksgiving Day and on Christmas Day, we have hot meals and dinner here. We spend our day here eating and communing with each other. Some are homeless and have nowhere to eat. And then some are seniors and got plenty of food but nobody to eat with. So we ask everybody to come and spend the day with us. I spend all my Thanksgiving and all my Christmas days right here at the House of Justice, but I'm not here by myself. We have scores of volunteers that give their holiday to do that, and they certainly did it in big numbers on this past Thursday. Give them a big hand. And it is our tradition, you serve people, and you don't take a day off. There's no holiday from serving people. You can't be an activist on every day but holidays. And I think that that is demonstrated by what we do here at the network. When I was growing up in Operation Breadbasket, every Christmas Day, we would visit the prisons, the jails. And when Dominic and Ashley was growing up and we'd spend Christmas at Reverend Jesse Jackson's house, we'd get up and go to the jail. Dominic and Ashley said, well, when do we open the toilet? After you come from jail. So we used to do jail here every year till Giuliani wouldn't let us into jail, so we started doing free meals. And we are glad about it. As I was looking last night at Minister McCall and Kirsten, and then Stephen Marshall, and then Mary Pat Hector, who turned 20 this week, who's our National Youth Director, runs it out of our Atlanta office, and on and on and on. There are many tribes in Africa. If you're going to become the head or in the leadership of the tribe that we are in this part of the movement, you need to know your tribal traditions. Yes. You need to know your traditions. And doesn't mean you're against what others do, but it means you know who you are. And what I do and have done through National Action Network, and we worked for years to build it, was to do what I learned from Bill Jones and Jesse Jackson and Dr. King, who trained them, and pass it on to the next generation. Now, people run around. I had said to the board, it was in the papers that 2 years I wanted to move and build a civil rights museum and let somebody else be president then, and y'all pay me back money. I know the papers get mad. I'm not supposed to get my back money, but that's their problem. So the successor issue becomes up. And one of the things that I say, and I was talking to Johnny Green about it, who's on the board of NAN, is that whoever succeeds me, and that's up to the board, is got to be in our tradition. If they change popes, they get a Catholic. They'll go to the Baptist convention and choose a new pope. They both Christian, but they ain't Catholic. So everybody running around talking about, well, this person can be the new sharp and this. No, it's got to be somebody that does this. You can't switch lanes. No. And then come back one way. You're going to lead a lane you switched out of. We saw your turning lights. You gone. May God be a blessing to you. But those sort of tradition we brought. Reverend Jackson started the Saturday morning rallies in Chicago. We brought it to New York. We do things that continue a tradition. Now they're gonna be fly-by-nights that pop up and go down. I can tell you, I can get Dominique and Ashley mad because they get all excited. You know, folk run something now on social media, get 10 likes, and everybody get all excited. But I done seen things come and go. I don't get excited. People get one event, one rally, everybody get all excited. I done seen big rallies before. And I've seen it calm down into nothing. But I've seen those that are steady and committed. Yeah. And I decided that I was going to be committed to my calling in this tradition that came from Dr. King to Jesse into us. And that is the young folk that are coming behind me that will continue that tradition. I was looking this morning, tomorrow's New York Times Magazine has a cover story on Spike Lee and talking about how Spike was the provocateur that now culture's caught up where he was. And Spike and Russell Simmons, all of us around the same age. I was the activist of that age, of that generation, and Spike did it in cinema and Def Jam and them did it in music. We all same age, within 2 or 3 years of each other. About, a generation or so behind Charlie King and them. We looked up to them while we was growing up. And every generation has its cultural and its political and its civil rights definers. And they will have to fight for their space in their generation. But if you don't know who you are, you won't have no space. Right. Hello. And if you gotta be what everybody else is, Spike and them were more on one side, I was on the other, but we fought together, understood each other. Right. But I was in the King movement. Spike did the film on Malcolm. But he put me in the film as one representing civil rights. We was always clear on who we was. I was talking economic development in the movie. Where is our supermarket? That's what I said in the Malcolm movie. I was Johnny Green before Johnny Green got here. Look at the Malcolm movie. Hello. Let me say this, and I think it is important. Tuesday night, we are, tomorrow, first, before I get to Tuesday, tomorrow, let me welcome our Impact TV family. Give them a hand on Thanksgiving. Tomorrow, I want everybody to follow on. I am very concerned about 2 cases. One is this case of this young lady in Tennessee who had been subjected to sex trafficking and had been abused, finally shot her abuser, and they gave her life in jail. A documentary came out on it, and now many of the entertainers have rallied around it. And I'm going to have the documentarian on with me in the morning, live on Politics Nation, 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern on MSNBC. I want y'all to watch this story. Our youth department here is going to help to fight that case. The other case that I'm interested in, and I'm going to talk to his lawyer live in the morning, is about this probation violation of Meek Mill, the rapper. He's been given 2 to 4 years. There's very questionable actions by this judge. And many years ago, I went at the request of Tupac Shakur's mother to me and Brother Barron, and we negotiated getting Tupac out of solitary confinement. And many years I went to see James Brown in jail. And I'm going to go on Monday to Pennsylvania to visit Meek Mill in jail and do what we can to fight for Meek Mill. Just because someone does something that is wrong does not give you the right to do wrong to them. The sentence must fit the violation. 2 wrongs don't make 1 civil right. And a lot of folk will remember, you gonna get in the Meek Mill thing, he did this, that, and other. That's what we do, is what other folks won't do if it is wrong. If it is wrong in the criminal justice sphere, that's what we do. I didn't agree with everything Tupac said. He didn't agree with everything I said. But it was wrong what they did. And we went and stood for Tupac, and he respected that we stood. Same thing with Meek Mill. I'm not asking for folk to just co-sign everything I do. I don't co-sign everything they do. One rapper told me, say, you know, I didn't like you till now. I said, well, I wasn't crazy about you, and I ain't sure I am now. I ain't trying to be no 40-year-old rapper or 35-year-old rapper. Run around with your pants sagging at 63 don't make a lot of sense to me. So Russell, you too old. Pull your pants up. We older than that. Catch a draft and get all arthritis skin. But right is right, so I want y'all to watch that tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, Politics Nation. Then I'm going to preach the 9:30 and the 11:30 services in Mount Vernon at Grace Baptist Church for our chairman, Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson. I'm starting his preacher series. He had surgery last week. He is home doing well, running around barking orders, checking memos, and we thank God there's not been a leader, prophet, teacher, preacher, pastor equal in his generation than Reverend W. Franklin Richardson. And I want us to continue to pray for him, and you in the Westchester area, meet me at Grace. I'll be preaching the 9:30 and the 11:30 service there in the morning. I want to welcome, I'm so happy to see one of our noted and popular actors of the day, Brother Joshua Boone, is in the house. Stand up, Joshua. Joshua you know, from Broadway, was in Jitney and Holler If You Hear Me, and other of those, and the movies and all. And you know, I went the other night to the premiere of Denzel. Denzel not the same age. Denzel, the movie come out this week, and I went to see the movie with Denzel, and Denzel and I used to argue on who was going to be the sex symbol of our generation, but I let him have it. I decided to be the activist. Good to have you, Joshua. Let me say, Tuesday night, Minister Kirsten Foy and the Northeast staff, Katrina Jefferson and Stephen Marshall, have asked all of the candidates that are going to run for city council speaker to be here and address what their achieving that position will mean in our community. Right. The same thing we did with the mayor races, the same thing we've done presidential races. Every candidate for president in the last 20 years have come, on the Democratic side, have come before National Action Network. The reason why there's a particular interest, and I'll be here Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. I want everybody in the New York area here. 6 o'clock, I'm sorry. 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. I'm sorry, Kirsten has told me. Lloyd Williams, everybody 6 o'clock. Here the Harlem Chamber of Commerce sitting here. Let me tell you why this is important. Talking about the tradition we come out of, Johnny Green, of social justice church-based, Dr. King on. Part of what the assignment Dr. King gave Reverend Jackson and therefore transferred to us was in economic equality. Part of what we miss is we get so politically and socially involved that we don't have our economic movements keep up with our political movements. So the answer is that we elected black mayors in the late 70s and 80s, but we did not bring up the development of the businesses and the contracts. So there was a time that the mayor of Atlanta, Detroit, LA, Philly, New York, Chicago were all black at the same time, and Philadelphia. We lost them because the economics didn't change. And we got mayors that function as a job rather than a position to deal with equalizing the contracts and institutional underpinnings of a city. So if whites get in power and deal with the economic spoils, they are savvy. If we get in, we are crooks. And the city council decides things like land use and zoning. Now what they got to do with us, Rev? It means gentrification could not have happened had the land use and the zoning and the special permission had not come down from the city council. Folk didn't just take Fort Greene and Bed-Stuy and Harlem. They were permitted to do it. Now, if we are 2/3 of the population, black and brown, 2/3 of the city of New York is black and brown. 65% of the city is black and brown. And we don't have 1% of the contracts. We don't manage 1% of the pension funds. We don't deal with 1% of the economic spoil. You living in the Big Apple and can't get a bite of the apple. You go down south Thanksgiving, I live in the Big Apple. You live on the stem, you ain't in the apple. That's that little thing they tear off before they eat. That's where you live. We have never had a black president of city council. Now, I'm not saying the next president got to be black, but you got to tell me why they shouldn't be the right one. Or somebody like de Blasio did with Bill Thompson, convinced us they had a better program. So Tuesday night, I want to hear what all of them, black, white, everybody running, what they are going to deal with about our issue. Why do you want to divide it? Because we got issues that you divided. Education in New York is not equal. Criminal justice in New York is not equal. Economics in New York is not equal. Land use is not equal. Contracts are not equal. You cannot be the president of a city that's divided and not tell me how you're not going to address our side of the divide. So Tuesday night, 6 o'clock, all the candidates have asked to be here. Now, Minister Ford tells me they all confirmed. confirm or not, those that don't show up, they ain't gonna be in the run-up. Because we gonna assign, I'm gonna be here. We gonna assign everybody to then call their councilman and tell their councilman or woman that we heard the candidates and this is who we want you to support. We watching you. One reporter said to me, well, you know, the city council makes the decision, not the people. Yeah, but the people decide who's in the city council. So if you get enough of the citizens to call their council person, they cannot ignore that. And being that the vote not going to be to January, they make the decision sometime mid-December. We might make some house calls between now and then. But people talk about, well, they don't usually do that in city council race. That's exactly why I might do it. I like doing stuff nobody else did. This is not going to be no buddy backroom deal.
I like that.
We got the president of the United States comes from this town that has embarrassed us in front of the world.
That's right.
I mean, he takes turns at outdoing himself. But what folk don't realize is every development and building that Donald Trump did, the city council passed it. Somebody in the council approved his building plans, his height plans, his zoning.
That's right.
Well, I need us to have a president that's going to look at this stuff.
Yes.
That's right. That's
Hello?
right. That's right.
I don't understand, Lloyd Williams, how they got cafes that we can sit out in the street in Fort Greene, in Bed-Stuy, drinking mint tulips. And somebody approved them being able to serve beverages and serve food on the sidewalk. You can't just set up your tent and move out there now. Somebody had to approve that they could set up on the sidewalk, Carnegie, on the sidewalk, Jemani Williams, and sell their food, sell their drinks, and they got the permit to do it. But we couldn't get them to straighten out the broke block. We had cracked concrete that you couldn't fix. But y'all found a way to not only cover the concrete, but turn it in what was an inside dump into an outside cafe. That's why the city council becomes important. Somebody approved that.
That's right.
When I was growing up in Brownsville, they would raid after hour spots. Now you got all night pubs. Somebody approved that. Hello?
Check it
I was riding around the other night, Brooklyn. They got pubs. All night hot baths. What is an all night hot bath? If I went on there, I'd tell you what they used to call it. So we need to know what's going on in the city council. So I want everybody here Tuesday night as we deal with that issue. And I'm glad two of the city council candidates are here this morning. Councilman Jemani Williams, Councilman Robert Carter. Give them both a hand. As we look at what's going on, I must say this, and I'm going in my message and I'm let you go. And I think it is important that we address a couple of things, and then I'll give my message, let you go, because Joshua got to get on his performance. I told him I won't hold him too long. He said, y'all ain't gonna do one of them old school morning sermons. I said, no, you'll be to Broadway on time. Donald Trump, in the middle of all that we are facing, you have the issue with North Korea. You have the tax bill up this week. Donald Trump decides to pick a fight with the father of one of the 4 UCLA basketball players that was arrested in China. Now, I keep telling y'all that there was a movie years ago called Fatal Attraction, where this woman liked this man, he messed around, thought he was playing with her, and she had a fatal attraction to start turning into a homicidal kind of person, right? Gwen Carr laughing, she's seen that movie. Now, I keep telling y'all that we are in the dangers of a fatal distraction. Trump is a master at distracting us from the real issues. And it will be fatal if we keep going for it. What do I mean? This tax bill that will cause a $1.5 trillion addition to the deficit, they intend to pay for it by cutting the Medicaid and cutting the services that you and I need. They have thrown in repealing some of Obamacare with the mandate. Rather than you focusing on, wait a minute, how y'all gonna do this? He's got you focused on him fighting the daddy of somebody that was arrested in China that he claimed he helped get out. And the daddy said, well, I don't know if he did it or not. Now, let me tell you why the daddy said that. One, it was on NPR, one of the Chinese representatives said, first of all, when someone commits a crime in China, we usually deport them. Everybody thought they were going to do 10 years, and no, we usually deport them. Secondly, they never was in jail, they were under house arrest at the hotel. Trump said I should have left them in jail. They were not in jail. They were at the hotel under house arrest. Now that ain't no pleasure. Whatever he did should be given credit for, but for him to go berserk is a distraction. They're going to call a man an ungrateful fool and said he's a poor man's Don King with no hair. I thought Trump liked Don King. Don was down there waving flags with him and skinning the cat on. Now you done jumped on Don King. That's why when Trump called me, I'm not going out and meet. He'll throw you in front of the bus. Whatever you need to have somebody thrown. The fact of the matter is the economic underpinnings of our community, which is what I grew up in breadbasket, which I'm dealing with now, what Johnny's talking about, what Kiss is talking about, is this tax bill's impact. Thanksgiving Day, Black Friday, all of this are economic concepts. Y'all got the holidays, they get the money. Think about this now. They got you gobble, gobble, gobble. Go to bed early so you can get up and get online for Black Friday. And ain't no blacks making no money on Black Friday. I don't know why they call it Black Friday. And some of y'all standing out there spending your money, buying what you want, owing for what you need. You owe rent, but you got to get some new gadget that won't be here New Year's Day. And you stand out there like somebody out of their mind. It's too cold to go to the rally, but you'll be freezing 3 in the morning, waiting on Walmart or Sears and Roebuck to open. Something wrong with you. And getting ready to do the same thing Christmas. in Brooklyn, New York. And when I was growing up, I used to hear Bing Crosby on the radio singing "I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas." And me and all my classmates would hope that it would snow. But when I got 3 or 4 years old, it's before my father left, he used to drive us down south with my mother's folks in Alabama, my grandmother down there, and my grandmother's folk in Florida. We used to get to Florida, and I said, well, where's the snow? He said, don't snow down here, it's Florida. But they had on the radio, Charlie King, "I'm dreaming of a white Christmas." Now I said, they can't be dreaming of a white Christmas in Florida if it don't snow. My granddaddy said, they know about no snow. You see all them white folk making Christmas sales and money. They celebrate the holiday after we go and have our white Christmas shopping with them. Yeah, and they had them a white Christmas and a nice vacation on your black dollars because you don't invest in your own. You don't support your own. You don't demand your own. I'm not anti-white, but I'm anti-us being stupid. Don't buy from no company, black or white, that don't support your interests. How we got pension funds and they don't invest in our young people having the business capital that they need to get started. I ask these unions, y'all got all this pension fund money. Majority of your members are black and Latino, and all whites managing the pension fund investment. So they take our money, our pensions, lend it to some developer that removes us from our community. So we are financing our own removal. Bad enough to remove me is worse than I'm paying for. I met with one union leader. I said, who manages your pension fund? He's the president. He said, I don't know. Then how you the president? Millions of dollars in pension fund, and you don't know who's investing it. Then you're not in charge. Because we've been taught limited. And when you start raising economic questions, then you're dangerous. When Dr. King came north and started raising questions about economic equality, his last mission was the Poor People's Campaign, dealing with garbage workers, dealing with equality, started Operation Breadbasket, dealing with consumer goods. That's when he had to go. Reason why they never liked me is because we dealt with a town that it is bad for business to expose racism in the city of Wall Street. Oh, no, let's have a little meeting. Come by our meeting. Sip a little, tea and work this out. No, I went out to Howard Beach. I went out to Bensonhurst, all the way to Trayvon and all the way to Eric Garner. They don't want you to take the veil of respectability off of a town where everybody in the world comes to trade. But I know that if I expose them, they would have to deal with it because they can't stand for the world to see who they really are. Hello? I mean, think about it. Why are folks so mad at me having nonviolent marches in white areas? Because it is against the branding of the corporate headquarters of America, Wall Street. Oh, that was good in Alabama. It was noble in Mississippi. But don't do that in New York. Because we got folks flying in from Asia. We get ready to cut a deal. And we don't need them to know our cousins carry on like that. So the problem ain't our cousin, our problem is Sharpton. It's bad for business. But I'm in business too. I'm in the civil rights, getting justice for folk. That's what I do. And if I got to shame you to get you up off of us, then that's what I'm going to do. And you call me the name you want. We have got to look at the reason why they would tolerate somebody that operates in such an embarrassing way as Donald Trump. Because they got to be shamed.
Yeah, right?
I mean, they just got to be shamed. That he has made a mockery of the presidency.
Yeah.
Sit up call a man an ungrateful fool is not presidential talk. But if he can just hold on long enough for them to reorder the financial arrangements in the country, the tax bills, the consumer bureau that they arguing about now, if they get rid of some of these regulations and if they can restructure taxes, they will tolerate him through that.
Yeah.
And he stacked those federal courts and the Federal Court of Appeals with lifetime judges that will vote to protect their business interests. When they get through with that, they'll dump him themselves. He is there to turn the tide around. Let me tell you something. Ronald Reagan started moving this ship of state to the right. Trickle-down economics, deregulation, consolidation of media. Succeeded by Bush Sr., kept it going the same direction. Then Clinton came with triangulation. Same direction, he just slowed it down. I'm a Democrat, but I'm not reversing tide. I'm going to just slow it down. It did not start turning until after Bush Jr. with Barack Obama. Obama turned it. Some of us wanted him to go faster, but he turned it. Where it went from trickle-down economics to Affordable Care Act and consumer protection and other things. Trump is to turn it back to the right. They'll get somebody competent in a minute, but they need somebody to deal with turning it around. And you got to understand this is all about economics. Slavery was about economics. They used racism to justify working human beings for no wages. Well, Mommy, Daddy, why does Aunt Beulah got to work and not get paid? Because Beulah's not but 3/5 of a person. They justified chattel slavery with racism. And we dropped the economic fight. So every major black stood on the corner 125th and Lenox, 125th and 7th, and preached until times got better. Every one of them stood up on a ladder as I grew up, the best that I've heard. And we got on the corner. The mistake we made, Lloyd, is we never owned the corner. So right now, on the corners that everybody from Marcus Garvey to Malcolm X to Adam Clayton Powell stood and preached up United Race and Black Power on that corner. Whole Foods is there. Where Louis Mashaw's bookstore used to be. They moving in franchises. Because the city council cleared it. Because you were so busy running around who was going to be the big Negro preacher and who was going to be the big Negro leader when they bought the land from under you and got you renting from your own landmarks. My daughter just got married. Ashley here. I cannot bring my daughters and son-in-law and show them a building that Garvey preached in. Not one place. I can't go and show them in Harlem. We got to go all the way to Washington Heights to even show a landmark on Malcolm. Where's the landmark on Adam Powell, other than the church with all the legislation he's done? We don't own, we don't operate the economy, and we let other folks tell us what our agenda is. Our agenda is what your agenda is. We want a piece of the rock that we helped to build. I remember when James Brown and some of the R&B singers started making money. Stevie Wonder, James Brown bought radio stations. I brought a rapper years later. I won't call his name. He wanted to meet James Brown. I brought him dressing room. And he said, Mr. Brown, I'm be a businessman just like you. He said, what are you investing in, son? He says, I'm opening up a cologne company. He said, a cologne company? He said, you get hits by your records played on the air. That's why I bought a radio station. I invested in the business that made me. That's why Stevie got a radio station. Who tricked y'all where y'all run around squirting perfume up your behind while they own the vehicle that makes you a star? We pay and buy what we want, what tickles us, and miss the fundamentals. Now, the real reason, getting into my message, is because we do not believe that we can do what they do. They have convinced us that they are bigger than they are. And one of the lessons of the Bible, one of the lessons of Thanksgiving, is that you got to deal with being thankful and embrace what God has given you is equal to anybody else in the world. If I go in a room with whites my age and background, why would I assume they're smarter than me other than I have a built-in inferiority complex? When I started my show on MSNBC, I've been preaching since I was 4 years old. Preaching world's fast, preaching everywhere, all over the country. Done radio since I was 16. Bob Law gave me a show. And Negroes sit up talking about, can Al do a show? I've been doing a show longer than anybody in 30 Rockefeller Center. But because it was black radio, that wasn't real radio to y'all. Now most of the folk on there, Rachel Maddow, all of them come off radio. But I'm talking to black folk, and we ignorant. That's ignorant radio. Because that's what you think of yourself.
Charlie Red.
Not me.
Charlie Red.
I go and meet and stand up to the mayor or the governor. You're arrogant. Where anybody else go, they support their interest. Union leaders go and get for their members. They're good union leaders. Civil rights leaders go for their constituents. You're a shakedown artist. What's the difference? You want high wages. We want contracts. What makes one crooked and the other sacred? Who that defines you can confine you. I don't let you define me. I was born at Kings County Hospital, October 3rd, 1954, when I was born. They patted me on my behind and I started screaming. I've been hollering ever since. 3 hours later, they They put me in the maternity ward. Put me in a little blanket around me. I'm laying up there trying to figure this stuff out. After a couple of hours, I was a little hungry. Want a little milk. I looked at there was 2 other babies in the maternity ward that night, Jackson. I looked over at them. The milk time, where the nurse? One of them was a bourgeois. Highly polished baby. He saw the nurse passing outside. He put his little pinky up. Nurse kept going. The other one was a little middle of the road kind of baby. So he kind of kicked his little blanket a little bit. Grinning a little bit. Nurse kept going. I seen the pinky wouldn't work. I seen the leg in the blanket didn't work. So I just threw the blanket off and started screaming and hollering loud.